From the Fans Talk Wrestling family at fanstalkwrestling.com, this is Fans Talk Lucha. It's a weekly conversation about what's going on in the world of Lucha Underground. This is episode 4 and covers Lucha Underground Season 1, episode 14, which aired on February 11th, 2015. My name is Garvin, and once again I am joined tonight by my wife. Say hello, wife.
Hello, wife.
You're hearing little jingles in the background because we got the dogs in the room with us. Fans Talk Lucha is a podcast that is brought to you exclusively by the paid members of the FTW community. If you enjoyed this conversation, please go to fanstalklucha.com, click the Support Us link and pledge $1 or more a month. Every little bit will help us cover the cost of hosting, domains, internet, or, to get these episodes up, equipment upgrades, all that stuff. So, we did have a deadline of last night to reach our $50 a month milestone to keep this series active. We generally record on Fridays. We're recording this episode on Saturday morning. We didn't meet that deadline. We didn't meet that milestone. But we do feel it's best for business if we can extend that deadline another week. You guys like the series. We like doing it. We're at $45 right now, so only $5 left of the goal. We want to thank B. Megs for adjusting his pledge amount. He upgraded to become a $5 patron, which gives him access to exclusive content like FTW Fallout, which is released every Tuesday night. So out of the 100 or so of you who watch the series on YouTube, out of the 400 or so who listen to this series through your podcast catchers, your podcast players, if 5 of you stepped forward today and pledged $1, we'd reach our milestone. Do so. fanstalklucha.com. Click the big green Pledge Now button. Alright, let's go into our Saca de Correos. One of the biggest complaints about Lucha Underground is how flimsy and lame the title looks. I think we've complained about that every show for the last, two shows. This is the 4th episode, so the last 2 shows. So on YouTube, we got some comments about that. Stony Guerrero posted, all the rumors have it that there'll be a new title that's why they destroyed the first one. It was meant to be destroyed and look cheap, so the new one, so that no one will miss it when it's gone. So I do like that rumor. I haven't read that, but I do like that idea. But you could definitely see the difference between, the really crappy Lucha Underground title and then the title that El Patron carried. I'm
going to call shenanigans. I think that they knew it was going to get destroyed, so the prop department just tacky glued some foil on a piece of felt, and that's how they did it.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the rumor. They have to do something. They have to, So, but I don't know if that means because it was implied that it was gold on leather. I mean, that's a title.
That is a terrible way to store your gold. I just can't get past this gold thing. Get a bank account, dude.
So I do like that rumor. Bogger3K posted on YouTube. He said, I'm not a fan of Alberto El Patron right now. I just saw a match between him and Christopher Daniels in a Ring of Honor, and he delivers moves so slow and safe, he makes almost everything he does look extremely fake. I hope, if he's going to be in a wrestling role in Lucha Underground, he fixes this style problem. Otherwise, he's not going to fit in very well. Your thoughts on this, because you saw him wrestle at a Ring of Honor show as well.
I did not see him wrestle at Ring of Honor because I am short and the people in front of us were very tall. I saw him whip off his shirt and a bunch of grown men hooting and hollering at him, and that was the extent of what I saw.
I see. Well, but you've seen Alberto Del Rio wrestle before. Do you think his style is going to mesh well?
It's hard to say until we actually see him wrestle. I'm going to say it's early days, and I will reserve my judgment.
All right. So for me, I can see where you're coming from, Bogger. Overall, I have felt that way. It just seems very extra choreographed. He's not a flippy guy. He's more of a brawler. He's more of a what's that word?
Methodical?
Methodical. There we go. Where he's just kind of slow and pacing and, trying to work towards those submissions. So I don't know. I can see the reasoning behind your fears, Bogger, but, we do need different styles in Lucha Underground. We can't just be all flippy guys. there is room for all kinds of different styles. So I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, I think his moves need to be a little bit more crisper.
Did you just say more crisper?
More crisper.
Oh my God. You guys, call him out on that, please.
Brandon Gee posted, for anyone looking for another way to legally watch Lucha Underground, El Rey is a part of the online mini cable package Sling. There's a 7-day free trial. So if you haven't watched Lucha Underground yet, Sling.com, I think is what it is. It's basically the evolution of a TV network or like a TV network package streaming online. So they've got ESPN, like all of ESPN's channels. They've got a few other channels. I really haven't really been following, but it sounds like a really cool idea, and I hope it does take off. But El Rey is now a part of that. So yeah, if you were looking for a way to watch it, and you don't have the channel, you can pick up this package. And I think it's like maybe like $10 a month or something. I don't know. So definitely look into that. I believe it's sling.com, but we'll put the actual link in our show notes. B Megs posted, I've watched AAA and the shows were in larger arenas. Lucha Underground is in a really small venue, probably about 400 people or less. I'd like to know if someone has watched Mexico indie wrestling. The AAA guys are really reacting to the crowd more and more each episode. The AAA shows in the large arenas, the fans don't do chants like Lucha Underground fans. It's more a constant smattering of cheers. So basically, I'd like to know if the Mexico talent is starting to take in the American crowd and react with them, or if Mexico indies are like U.S. indies. I've no idea. Hopefully, if you guys are listening, know a bit about AAA and how the indie scene is in Mexico, definitely let us know. But yeah, to me, it feels like this is just a mixture of your Mexican style crowd and your US style crowd. So there's a lot of holy shit chants. There's a lot of, let's go whoever, and then, the counter, let's go whoever, like whoever's fighting. So like, kind of like the let's go Cena sucks kind of chants. So you've got like that smattering of US style chants. But I think it's a good mix. It doesn't really detract from the match itself. It doesn't detract from anything else that they're doing. So
it's certainly easy to help me determine who's supposed to be the guy you're rooting for and who the guy you're supposed to hate is. Not that that influences how I feel about it, but if I'm looking at a match from a storyline standpoint, it helps me figure out the storyline.
Although exactly, right? Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. It does help me kind of determine who is the standard heel and face. But then you've got like Pentagon Jr. here, who is like openly breaking people's arms, and obviously they're trying to build the story that he's a bad guy, and the fans are like all into him. So
he's the Samuel L. Jackson of Lucha Underground. He's supposed to be the bad guy, but we secretly love him.
All right. Well, thank you everyone who posted comments. Again, we will read and respond to pretty much anything you send us. So definitely continue to do that on YouTube, Facebook, or however you want to reach us. Always appreciate that stuff. So let's go ahead and go over this week's episode. If you're hearing crinkling of paper, this is the first time I've handwritten notes in a long time. Usually I'm always doing it digitally. But okay, we're going to start with El Patron. El Patron went into Cueto's office. That's how we ended last week. That's how we started this week. And he basically was requesting an opportunity to get something off of his chest. So he basically wanted an open mic. Cueto really wasn't into that because he doesn't want talkers. He wants fighters. He wants violence. And Patron said, as soon as he gets this off his chest, then he's going to be coming for blood. So
is that what happened?
Yeah. What do you remember?
I can't understand a word Alberto says. And it's not his accent, because I can understand everyone else just fine. It's his voice. He always sounds out of breath to me, like he needs to just stop and use his inhaler, and then maybe I'll understand him. But really, that was a one-sided conversation for me. I was so lost that whole scene.
Yeah, he does definitely have, it is not his accent, but like, it's like he's trying to, he's trying to put a lot of energy into everything he says, even when he's talking like at a low level.
It's almost Batman voice syndrome. You know what I'm talking about? That low, gravelly, breathy tone to his voice. I was so lost.
Yeah, so I can understand where you're coming from. It did take a while to get used to his speech pattern and how he talked. But as a WWE fan, I had a couple years under my belt.
It's interesting to me because sometimes we talk about people who are good wrestlers and people who are good on the mic and people who are both. And it's definitely interesting that he's getting more mic time here because to me, at least, he's kind of terrible on the mic.
Well, and it seems like industry-wide, people look at him as being good on the mic because he's got the energy, he's got the charisma and confidence to talk when a lot of people don't. So he rarely seems to ever mess up when he talks, but yeah, it's just like just his tone is odd.
I have a hard time hearing him. I might be the only one. It just might be I might be old and deaf. It's cool.
Yeah. All right, so the first match was Arenas versus Fenix. I had just a few notes on this. First of all, Arenas, lots of Hurricane Ranas. That seemed to be like his only major spot.
Is that the sideways twisty deal?
That's where he jumps up and he's like sitting on your shoulders, facing you, and then falls backwards, throwing you.
Oh, God, that sounds uncomfortable. Yeah, he did a lot of that. So it was impressive.
Like some people call it a head scissors takedown. That's sort of involved, but the head scissors takedown is like where your ankles grab the person's neck and throws them. But yeah, I think his moveset needs some more stuff. It just seemed like it was really, really repetitive throughout the entire match. The other note is I didn't know this, but he's actually related to the original Sin Cara in WWE, so Mystico. So he comes from a really good wrestling family as far as that goes. So,
I liked at the end, Fenix, when he was leaving the ring, I noticed that he's become very into interacting with the fans, not just high-fiving them, but at one point the camera was on him and he was listening to someone and speaking with a fan, and you don't see a lot of that, but I think the small size of the ring and the small size of the arena allow for that kind of fan interaction to happen.
Yeah, I hope that's a trend that continues because you see that all the time. Like, not every match, but at least one or two matches a night, you'll see that fan interaction. And that's really something you don't get when you go to a live show where they're doing a TV taping. A TV taping, the focus on the wrestlers is competing for the TV and not competing for the fans' love. So, when we went to ROH, their show in Dearborn a few weeks ago, there was barely any fan interaction. I think there was one wrestler who made it a point to actually communicate with the fans, try to get their hate because he was a heel.
Well, that's not true. At the end, Alberto interacted with the fans. I didn't see it because I'm short and I didn't understand what he was saying.
Well, but he was on mic at the time.
He was still interacting with the people on his left and right. It was nice, and it wasn't something I was used to seeing. And if I could understand him, I would have been really touched by it.
But Alberto El Patron, that's his style, so he fits very well into Lucha Underground in that capacity. But like everyone else from ROH, they seem to not. And we've seen the same thing, like go to a WWE live event, especially like pay-per-views or whatnot, and you rarely see anyone interacting with the crowd. You've got the John Cena where he throws his shirt into the crowd, but that's it. So I do hope that's a trend. It seems like a lot of the wrestlers are involved and understand that the fans are there to see them, not just, be a part of the TV show.
Well, and their fans make them their money. It's the type of TV show where you're relying, I think, more on ticket sales than on advertising sales. So it's in their best interest to interact and be favorable to their fans and foes.
So after that match, we did see Katrina come down. She came down basically to watch Fenix. So to carry on the story that we saw last week. And then they moved on from that to her getting in the ring to give Arenas the kiss of death. Fenix didn't seem to want any part of that and just kind of booked it.
I feel bad for her because she's got to lick the sweatiest dudes.
Well, at least they're masks and they're not like straight faces.
Still. Hats off to you, Katrina. That is dedication to your character. Please see your doctor regularly for checkups.
Backstage, Katrina had like this weird segment with Mil Muertes, basically berating Mil Muertes and saying at least the impression I got was that she was saying that he didn't have it in him. He wasn't strong enough. The weight of the 1,000 lives that he was avenging was too strong for him, and he needed to. And at that point, he grabbed her by the throat, lifted her up, and said, "I need nothing." Then put her down, and then walked away.
Obviously.
And then beat up Chavo in the back. So.
Obviously, he needs anger management is what he needs. But I really like that segment because they did some cool Stanley Kubrick style filming with the wide camera angles and the creepy sound effect tonal music behind them. That was a good segment.
Yeah, and like the close up on Katrina's feet when he lifted her up by the neck, that was pretty cool. Yeah.
And almost immediately after that, they went into another scene, confessional style, man in the dark, speaking as though to a priest, and it was Big Ryck. Big Ryck with an eye patch, which I gotta tell you, not a Big Ryck fan, but the eye patch and the new storyline angle they're giving kind of works for me. So maybe we'll see a little bit more passion in his wrestling and not just him bumbling around the ring now that he's got something to avenge.
Yeah, his best mic work ever.
It was really good. I didn't realize it was Big Ryck until the very end of the segment there.
Yeah, so very very into the religious tones, basically, quoting Bible verses and talking to God. This was his confession to a priest, it seemed. So, but it seems like where they're going next is that eye for an eye. They took out his eye. That's where he's going to go next.
That's not in the Bible.
Well, I know, but that, but the
he went all Code of Hammurabi, which was, a nice throwback. But
Sure.
I do like the eye patch. It's working for me. It's kind of hot.
Are you sure eye for an eye is not talked about in the Bible?
It's not in the Bible. It's the Code of Hammurabi.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sure I'm not the
I'm
only
pretty
one that
sure.
made that
If I'm
mistake.
wrong, you are welcome to correct me.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought that was his best segment.
It was really good.
in Lucha Underground, but just in general, we followed his character in WWE, also in TNA, and this is his best work I think I've ever seen. Okay, so Son of Havoc versus Johnny Mundo. What do you think about this match?
That was a great match. I like seeing guys who are physically matched up pretty well because I think that gives them a lot of room to do stunts and moves and choreography they couldn't do with someone who had a different wrestling style. So it was entertaining. They were doing a lot of flipping around, holding each other, swinging around. It was just fun to watch.
By far, Son of Havoc is my favorite wrestler. I think the guy is just phenomenal. His flagpole style elbow drop that he did on the ring post, I thought was great. And also just in general, he's the best wrestler on the roster by far, I think. Everything looks good, everything looks crisp and clear. Yeah, it's just a shame that he loses every match.
We did catch an amusing flub. They were the announcers. I love the announcers because sometimes they're timed up perfectly and sometimes they're timed up for comedy. They were talking about Johnny Mundo and his injured left knee, and they kept going on about how terrible the knee injury was, and just then that was the moment when Son of Havoc tripped on his own feet and fell into his own knee, which
Yeah. He
the
fell
god of comedy set that line up.
He fell right into the turnbuckle. It was awesome.
But he recovered like a pro. It still gave us a little giggle.
Yeah, so after this match, we saw King Cuerno come down. He attacked Mundo. It seemed like the commentating team was trying to figure out, why Cuerno was going after Mundo, and their hypothesis was that Cuerno's goal is to then go after Puma. So go through Mundo, who is technically, I guess, Puma's best friend. And then after that, he can go into a feud with Puma. So that does kind of make sense, but then that threw a question to me of what about Cage, and then just the fantasy booking aspect of it.
You can't revenge through Cage, honey. He's not a man. He's a machine.
Well, I know, but Cage is standing in between everyone, I'd imagine, and the title.
It is an odd, torturous route for revenge. Given that we've now seen some backstage segments where people just beat up other people directly for no reason.
Well, I think any attack on Chavo has a reason. It's because he's Chavo.
Yeah.
I think that's happened like 3 times already.
He's the world's punching bag.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think if Cuerno is going to go for that title and he wants a shot at Puma, going through Mundo makes sense, but Cage is the the roadblock for me. I don't see Cuerno being able to take out Cage.
So you think it's kind of sloppy writing unless there's something that they haven't revealed yet?
No, I don't think it's sloppy writing. I think it's poor judgment for Cuerno. I mean, if Cuerno thinks that to earn a title shot he has to go through Mundo, he's totally missing like the big giant in the room, which is Cage, who physically has the title around his neck.
I've got another theory.
Okay.
Cuerno's the hunter. And I don't know if you noticed Johnny Mundo's pants, but he definitely had some kind of shaggy fleece thing at the bottom on his boots. I think maybe he was just giving in to his hunting instincts.
No, that's a possibility.
I mean, you saw the way he sneaked back out of that ring like an animal.
Yeah. Yeah, his backwards crawl out of the ring.
It was creepy.
Yeah, that's
it was
cool.
Beautiful. I loved it.
All right, Ricky Mandel versus Pentagon Jr. What'd you think about this match?
Too much punching and kicking. I feel like in a real wrestling match that's just filler. And I get it in the middle of a match when you're catching your breath or maybe communicating something softly, sort of outside of the camera's range. But when the entire match is punching and kicking, that has no interest for me. I
can see your point, but Pentagon Jr. is the exception because they've already built that story that his focus was hand-to-hand combat. Like all those video packages showing him like going after people is always like punching and kicking, and there was no flips or anything like that. So it was, so that's the exception. You know, you have to keep in mind that that's his wrestling style.
That would make more sense to me if the punching and kicking looked better. It looks great in the segments they film with him alone where he's able to fully extend his range, but when he's in the ring and they have to baby each other and pull their punches, I'm sorry, it always looks bad to me. And then, of course, at the end, he did his trademark move. It's like his answer to Chavo's chair. He went for the arm break. And it occurred to me at this point that we were no longer watching a wrestling match. Under that mask was Kathy Bates. And we were watching a really long promo for Misery 2. Coming soon. Possibly this summer.
I don't really have a response to that. Can I be honest? I never watched Misery.
Oh my god!
I'm kind of familiar with it. Like, isn't that where she like cuts off the guy's legs because he tries to leave the house or something like that?
No, she hobbles him with the sledgehammer. And if we don't meet our $50 a month goal, then this might be something we see in Garvin's future.
Oh, God bless it. Yes, please go to fanstalklucha.com, click the big green pledge now button, pledge $1 or more. It'd be much appreciated.
It's in his best interest.
My thoughts on this match. The match was okay. Like, it really wasn't anything spectacular. I do agree that the style is different, and I'm not necessarily into the whole hand-to-hand combat. I'm okay with it because that's his gimmick. That's what he does. But yeah, it's not as flashy or as interesting as everything else. But what is like just how he counters the flippy guys. It's just that, Famous B and Ricky Mandel, just not very good.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, judo is all about defense and blocking other people's moves, and that's far more interesting to watch than what we saw in the ring. Yeah,
so, again, the story seems to be that he's breaking these guys' arms, so yeah, you want to go after the guys who are your jobbers who won't be on TV for much longer. So, for that reason alone, I'm okay, overall. But yeah, the crowd is totally into it, which is really weird. And the commentators bring that up too, like that the crowd should not be into this as much as they are.
Well, it's LA.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, one thing that they keep pushing, and it's like especially him, is this whole that he's sacrificing these guys for his master. So it's kind of taking over like a religious cult almost type overtone. So just real brief, your thoughts on this direction. Do you like it?
I'm not sure if I'm going to like it or not because they've kind of developed mania and religious undertones in several other wrestlers. So this might be just one more thrown onto the pile. So unless they develop these different, I don't know, master-servant relationships in different ways, I might find that it's tedious.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to hold off judgment until we get a little further into the story. But yeah, the whole master-slave type relationship is odd. You know, if they bring him in like a manager, I think that could be pretty cool.
50 Shades of Pentagon Jr.
I'm actually thinking of, and you won't understand this reference, but James Mitchell. I think James Mitchell in this role as manager would be really, really cool just because he already fits that kind of like devil gimmick very well. So I don't know. Sorry, that was probably over your head.
It was just like those guys in front of me, so I couldn't watch Alberto at NXT. Not that I'm bitter.
No, ROH.
Oh.
NXT is in March. All right, so the show ended with Alberto El Patron coming out and, just saying what he had to say. And what he had to say was some digs at the whole racism aspect of WWE. Didn't necessarily call them out by name, but just referencing that situation happened and why he is in Lucha Underground. He's in Lucha Underground because of the respect that the fans have for the wrestlers, the respect that the wrestlers have for the other wrestlers, the respect that the ownership has for the wrestlers. So, yeah, that's why he's in Lucha Underground, and he's coming into Lucha Underground to be a wrestler and to, basically take it over. So you didn't understand the thing he said,
No,
right?
I didn't.
Okay. All right. So
he seeed passionate, though.
Yeah, very, very passionate.
A passionate mushmouth.
Definitely got the crowd into it. So yeah, overall, I thought it was okay.
He looks ridiculous in a suit.
Well, but he took the suit off. Remember, he said, "I'm not here. I'm no longer corporate. I don't need to wear this."
There was the slow stripping.
So, yeah, he's like, "I'm here with friends." So yeah, he's stripped. Apparently, Alberto Patron strips for his friends.
He did at Ring of Honor.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did there as well.
Listen to him giggling like a schoolgirl. You can't see it, but he's blushing a little too.
Best moment of the night. All right, so yeah. Overall, I thought it was a good show. Oh, we should say, one thing that really didn't make sense to me. I don't know if it made sense to you, but there was this guy that came and attacked Alberto El Patron. The commentators never said his name, or at least I didn't catch it if they did. But yeah, it was like this guy from his past coming to continue a feud that they started in Mexico. Apparently the crowd knew who they were, or who he was. Apparently the announcers knew who he was. I have no idea. But
see, I liked that. I know you think it doesn't make sense, but I'm used to watching these horrible promos, WWE. So, you'd start with a picture of a guy's face and it would say, "He's coming." And then maybe the next week they'd have him saying, "I'm coming." And they'd do this for 6 weeks, and then you'd see a guy wrestle and it would be terrible. So I like this reverse intro. You see a guy, maybe some people know who he is because of his history, but a lot of us new fans, we don't know who he is. We see him wrestle, we see something out of him, and then we will gradually learn who he is through the storyline. I like that. It's like how you get to know a character in a book.
Right, but if you look at the rest of Lucha Underground, that's how it's been. Here's this random guy that we've never seen before, but then the commentator team will tell us who they are, why they're important, and why they're here. And this guy, it was like, oh, well, he's from Alberto El Patron's past, and he's coming to continue their feud, and that was it.
I think they're doing the show, not tell thing where he comes in and we see that they have a feud because they're fighting, and then they will storyline it out and we'll watch it unfold instead of hearing all about it 6 weeks and then watching a match, which will ultimately not live up to the expectations they've built.
So real quick on that thought process, that's what they did with Cage.
Mm-hmm.
They had the 2 or 3 weeks of video packages and then Cage debuted. Do you feel this? Do you feel that ruined Cage for you?
Well, I started out not liking Cage because they had built him up to this kind of ridiculous, he looked like a big dummy. And I have since learned that he's good on the mic,
right.
But they built him up kind of stupidly. I feel that they made him look stupid.
All right, let's do wins and fails of the week. So what was your win of the week?
My win was Cuerno's backwards crab walk out of the ring. That was really creepy. I liked it.
Yeah, that was good. My win of the week is going to go to Big Ryck. I thought, again, his mic work in the back was fantastic. I like the story they're telling. I like the eye patch and that they're continuing the cigar. I think that all fits this character really, really well. Fails. What was the worst part this week?
Oh, me not being able to understand a third of the show. My inability to understand what Alberto's saying.
My fail is going to go to Son of Havoc not getting any wins. I think he had one win, and I could be totally wrong. I could just be misremembering this, but I thought his first match, like it was him versus Sexy Star, and I think he won that match. I could be wrong. It was a while ago.
Please tell us repeatedly in harsh words if he is wrong.
Yeah, but outside of that, I haven't seen him win, and I think I would like to see him do really well. Final thoughts?
I have none.
Okay. So again, my final thought is, we are trying to get our Patreon members to fund the show. We had a $50 a month goal. We're at $45 right now at the time of this recording. So if 5 of you have the ability, pledge $1. That's all we're looking for. Let's meet this milestone. Let's keep this show going for another week. If you like this conversation, consider supporting us by going to fanstalklucha.com. Click the support us link. You can also click the big green pledge now button that we've got up there. Every little bit helps. We aren't looking for much. We're asking for $12 a year from you as an individual. So definitely consider it. Again, if you like this conversation, that's going to help tell us that you do. And that's the show. We'll be reading and responding to your comments all day through our YouTube channel and on social media. You can head on over to fanstalklucha.com for more about us and how to get involved in the future. And join us throughout the week on Facebook, Google+, or anywhere you guys know how to reach us. And let's continue talking about Lucha Underground. Adios.